A Connecticut gun manufacturer is being pulled into this gun control debate because it produces the same style of weapon that Sandy Hook shooter Adam Lanza used.
Stag Arms in New Britain has been making AR-15 style rifles for nearly a decade, but now owner Mark Malkowski says they might be in trouble. Mark, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
You know, and I wanted to ask you, I mean, you are, as we said in the tease, kind of in a tough spot, right? I mean, it must be a little bit of a delicate issue for you to talk about the business angle, especially here in Connecticut where it's such an emotional issue.
It really is an emotional issue. Right now we're going through a lot with the legislators. We've had a chance to sit down and go to the table and talk to them and look at things that we can all do to make a safer Connecticut. We believe that as a gun manufacturer, we have a lot of expertise, and I believe that if we worked all together, we can work for the same goal of having a safer state.
Right, of course. So what kinds of ideas might you have?
Well, first of all, I think that we need to look at unauthorized access to firearms. Safe storage is one of the best ways to keep unauthorized people to have access firearms. Another thing we need to do right away is look at the NICS system, the National Background Check System, and look at immediate improvements we can make to that would make it difficult or prevent unauthorized people from purchasing firearms.
How is it deficient? What is it that is not working, this NICS system?
The NICS system, it's not up to date. Right now, processing times are very slow, and in some cases, in some areas, things like certain information isn't put into them quick enough, so that if someone has a restraining order, for example, they may not have that information when they're going to make the purchase.
When the purchase is happening, and so
That's
the
right.
gun gets purchased and it falls through the cracks.
Exactly.
I want to, excuse me, I just want to ask you, you are a parent, right?
Yes,
so
I am.
You understand the reaction of people to what happened. What was your reaction?
I was sickened. I was sickened. It was the worst thing that's ever happened. As a parent, as a person in society, and as a resident of Connecticut, you can't feel anything but horrible for the terrible tragedy that took place that day.
So you can understand then that people feel like we got to do something.
And
so what is it?
I agree. I think we do have to do something, but we really need to start focusing in on fact and not emotion. What the governor's proposing, a gun ban that will not make the state safer, but instead just take away from the people that enjoy sports shooting, hunting, and protecting their homes and their families. I believe that there are ways we can work together to make it safer, but if we look at historically, gun bans do not reduce crime. Rifle production is at its highest levels, and gun violence is on its way down. Cities like D.C., Chicago have the highest crime rates when it comes to using firearms, and they also have the strictest gun laws.
I know that as a business owner, I mean, you also have, of course, business concerns about how the ban might affect your business. I wanted to run, first of all, we had Congressman John Larson on the show last week, and we asked him about how he thinks it might affect Connecticut businesses, and we wanted to just run that quickly.
Our manufacturers primarily manufacture for the military and for police enforcement, and I don't believe that it's going to affect or impact them. They manufacture for both our country and bid on other countries, etc. And listen, they're still going to be very viable.
Well, so he says that most gun manufacturers do the bulk of their business with military, and with governments in other countries. Is that your case?
That couldn't be further from the truth. None of us could sustain just on law enforcement, just on military contracts.
You do some business with law enforcement?
We do a lot of business with law enforcement, a lot in the state of Connecticut. But it's really the commercial market that drives all of us. All those contracts that come in, they come in large, and they come in short periods. But there's large gaps in between them.
Because once they get them, they have them.
And then they don't order again. Okay. So you can't close or lay off people because you're waiting for the next one to come in.
So you need the recreational and protection aspect of your business to be flourishing in order for you to remain in business.
Yes, we do.
How much of you, I mean, do you know percentage-wise how much is to the private consumer?
It would have to be about maybe 10% law enforcement, but 90% goes to just the people who enjoy sports shooting.
But even those people, once they get them, you know, I'm not a gun owner, but once they get them, don't they also have them in the same way that law enforcement and military has them?
What do you mean?
I mean, in terms of once they have the gun, are they buying more of
yes,
them? Or? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Most gun owners continue to collect. They have different configurations. We have different models designed for things like hunting, sports shooting, competition shooting, so people are very likely to collect all different types.
Interesting.
Well, you brought up an interesting point about storage, and of course we don't know what the situation was in Newtown, in the Lanza home. Obviously, the gunman there had access somehow, whether he broke into something or they were just lying around. We just don't know. The police investigation won't be completed for a long time. But I just wonder where you think we're going to go with this. What did you think, for example, of Vice President Biden when he was at Danbury recently, and when he said, "You people with the guns," he said, there are other ways to get entertainment and to protect yourself. You don't need an AR-15. Now, what was your reaction to that?
Well, I think needs testing is a very dangerous thing. I don't think that the government should tell us what we need. I think that millions of people use these products responsibly, and they use it to go shooting, hunting, spending time with their families. The fondest memories I have growing up are spending time shooting at the range with my father. And those are the kinds of things I want to be able to pass down to my son and my daughter. So, he can have his opinion, and I think that that's fine, but I don't think that's a one-size-fits-all for the whole country.
We're almost out of time, but I just want to ask you, do you think that you're as involved in the conversation as you need to be? I mean, and you as gun manufacturers, I mean? I
think that the Connecticut gun manufacturers have gotten together and approached the governor's office, the legislators, and are sitting at the table now wanting to give our input and work together for the same goal. We want Connecticut to be as safe for our families as everyone else.
Good
well,
point.
thank you, Mark Malkowski from Stag Arms. Thank you for being with us and giving us your viewpoints.
It's a really good perspective. Thank you.
Well, it's election season already as some big seats open up in Connecticut cities. Coming up, a conversation with a mayoral candidate from another major position he held at the state level.